Hi everyone, David Aragona and Mike Beer here taking a look at the feature race at Saratoga on Saturday. Race 10 is the Grade 1 Sword Dancer. This race carded at 1.5 miles on the inner turf course for the older runners. And Mike, we've got 9 horses entered for the turf in here, and it's a pretty strong field, but clearly the leader of this division, at least as far as the horses based in the U.S. is concerned, has been the number 6 Farbridge. He won this race last year. He's just been really tough to beat in these races over the 3-turn marathon distances, but he's got a couple of rivals coming in from overseas here, including 2 from the Charlie Applebee barn, Nation's Pride and newcomer El Cordobés.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, listen, he's really good. The longer, the better for this horse too. He's the kind of horse who can get any kind of a trip in a race, and that really helps him. But, you know, for being honest, David, this horse has won 3 of his 4 starts so far this year, and he's looked good in all of them. This will be tougher than any of those 3 victories. This is a better field than he faced in any one of those.
It's way tougher. I mean, it's probably on par with the Manhattan that he ran in 2 back, and he was beaten in that race, but the 1.5 mile distance, much more suitable to Farbridge. And we'll take a look at the Timeform US pace projector for this race. And Mike, might be surprising to some to see Farbridge shown in second on this pace projector, but he's been so versatile with his running style over the past year or so. They actually won this race in gate-to-wire fashion last year in sort of an unexpected move by Joel Rosario to send him to the front end, but he's been just as effective coming from off the pace, and it seems like he's settled into a style where he shows a decent amount of tactical speed, and that just gives him a lot of options in these races.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't, if there's nobody going early in this race, the good thing about the way that Rosario handles them is that he lets them come running out of the gate to get a forward position. And if nobody else goes, then he'll just take over. And if somebody else seems like they, sort of want to take the lead, he'll just let him do it. And he's very comfortable sitting somewhere off the pace.
We should note the horse that's not shown on this pace projector is the number 1, El Cordobés, the other runner from the Charlie Applebee farm coming in from Godolphin. And Mike, he's a horse that when you watch his overseas races, on occasion they put him on the front end. I'm not saying he's a pacemaker for Nation's Pride because I think he's better than that, but it would not be a surprise to see that horse go forward in this race.
Yeah, he was certainly very tactical over there. I would put it that way. He could certainly come out of there running and make the lead in this race. I'm with you. I do not think he's over here just to help his Godolphin stablemate, because this horse is good in his own right. But if nothing else, there could be a real good trip coming for him here from the rail.
Let's begin our discussion of the contenders with that other Charlie Applebee runner, El Cordobés, drawn on the inside. And Mike, he's a horse that's coming in progressive form. He came to hand over the winter in Dubai, ran pretty well in a couple of handicaps over there. And since they've brought him back to England to compete in a series of 4 races from the spring into the summer, it just feels like he's gradually been getting better little by little, maybe with the one exception of the race where they tried to make him stay 1 3/4 miles. Didn't seem like he loved that, but he got right back on track last time in that Group 2 Princess of Wales, going this 12 furlong distance. Now, I don't think that was the toughest Group 2 in the world. He only beat 3 runners and not of the quality you typically think of as a British Group 2 race, but still, he's coming in with form that I think makes him dangerous in this spot.
Yeah, I like his form too, and as we've already sort of touched on, I like his running style quite a bit for this race too, because he's just so handy. He is still a tough call for me, David, because I'm still not sure where I want to place him on as far as class goes. I watched some of his races. I mean, even the last one, as you put out, it wasn't a great field. There were only 3 other horses in there. And then you watch the race and the other 3 horses all went ahead of him and sort of contested the pace around the final turn there, the final bend into the straight. They just set the race up perfectly for this horse. He sat there, he let them race, and then he came for him in the stretch and he won really easily. In some ways, that's a good sign for him, but in some ways, it's not a great sign because he just took advantage in that race. And it still makes me wonder, how good is this horse?
Yeah, I think the best race he ran was that May 3rd handicap where he easily beat French Master, who's a really good Group 3 level horse over there. And we'll see. I mean, some of the Timeform comments I was reading indicate that he kind of ran himself out of handicaps very quickly, and he's kind of not good enough for the Group 1 races over there. So they were speculating maybe he's the kind of horse Charlie Applebee would bring to America. Lo and behold, he did. The number 2, Rebel Red, is a horse that was pretty impressive, going the 1 3/8 miles distance 2 back at Churchill Downs in the Chorley Wood. He got held up at the back of the pack, made a big wide run to run that field down in the final 1/4 mile. That's exactly the kind of trip that works for this horse, Mike. He needs to make that run on the outside. It's been much talked about. He lost his eye up here last summer in a stall accident, and he sort of needs to stay away from the other horses to have his best chance. Last time out in the United Nations, that was a trip that it didn't necessarily not work out in the sense of him not being able to have vision like maybe some others of his did, but just the move that Luis Saez made on the backstretch to kind of get him going with about 5.5 furlongs left to go in the race, it just didn't make any sense to me.
I agree with you. It looks like he really regressed last time, but I'm with you. When you watch the replay of that race, you're wondering as they head up the backstretch, where is he going that early in the race? And then he's wide all the way around the final turn in that race, and he just couldn't quite reach the leaders. He got very tired in there, but I thought he had a right to get very tight in there, considering the early run they put him into. He's way better than that.
And you might notice his regular jockey, Jose Ortiz, winds up on another horse here. I kind of wonder if he was maybe a late addition to this race, Mike, because he only ran 3 weeks ago, didn't produce a full effort there. Maybe he couldn't have Jose Ortiz available for this race, but he does get an ample replacement in his brother, Irad. The number 3, Vote No, is another horse coming out of the United Nations. He was the 4th place finisher in that race, and I thought some things went right, some things went wrong in the trip. He was a little wide early, gradually got his way to the inside. He was finishing okay between horses, Mike. All in all, I think he proved that he belongs against that level after having gotten very good over the course of his start since the claim by Kelsey Danner. And now they're stepping up again, but he's going to be a big price.
Yeah, he'll be a price again in here. I'm with you. He showed, I think, in the UN last time that he could probably fit in races like this. Maybe this one's a little too tough for him. He's certainly gonna have to improve to win here. But as you sort of mentioned, I mean, it's not like everything went right for him last time. Starting, right out of the gate in that race, he sort of got bounced around between horses at the start. His rider had to take a big hold of him and take him back off the pace, and then he just sort of gradually worked his way forward. I thought he stayed on really well at the end of the race. The distance seems to be no issue for this horse, and I still think he's underrated.
Number 4, Padiddle, is the outsider in this field. He did finish third in a couple of graded stakes behind Farbridge earlier in the year, but he was no match for that rival on either occasion. Since then, he's only been able to get on turf 1 time. It's kind of a flat, one-paced 4th place finish against weaker allowance company, so he's a little tough to build a case for.
Absolutely. I mean, I understand that distance is good for this horse, but not distance at this level of racing. These races are way too tough for him.
The number 5, Nation's Pride, is the higher profile of the 2 Godolphin Charlie Applebee runners shipping over for this race. And Mike, we know this horse quite well as handicappers of American racing. He shipped over to the U.S. plenty of times. He's a grade 1 winner over here. He's even a grade 1 winner up in Canada, winning a race over there last year. He's a grade 1 winner in Germany. I think the bottom line with him is when they try Group 1 company in Europe or in Dubai, he's not quite that good. So that makes sense why they keep going globetrotting with him to find some lesser grade 1s around the world. And they've definitely been able to find that in the US over the course of his career. I think the big question with Nation's Pride now, Mike, is twofold. One, is he as good as he used to be now as a 6-year-old? And also, is he as good at 1.5 miles? Because I was reading some pre-race quotes from Charlie Appleby where he was kind of acknowledging that he is a horse they've targeted as shorter races throughout his career. And now that he's older, he wonders if maybe going longer is going to help him to refine that form.
Yeah, I mean, listen, so we talk about this a lot. Sometimes when you stretch horses out, especially in America, you run them in the longer distance turf races, the competition just isn't that tough. And sometimes that will lead to improved results. We'll see if it happens for this horse, Nation's Pride. I mean, he has won at 1.5 miles in his career. Actually, so it's not like he can't get this distance, but I don't know, man. To me, he was okay as a 3-year-old, and I don't ever think he got that much better as time has gone on for him. And now he's 6. Can he win this race? Absolutely. But I don't want to bet him in here at all, David. I don't like his recent form. I don't really like any of his recent races.
I'm sure some handicappers will put stock in the fact that William Buick is coming over and lands on this one as opposed to the stablemate. And Charlie Appleby is a trainer that I know handicappers of U.S. racing have respected over the course of the last several years. And with good reason, he's won some big races. But I found this stat looking up some recent performances from him in DRF Formulator, Mike. And over the past year specifically, especially just going back to last summer at Saratoga, and since then, Charlie Appleby has not had the rate of success that we would expect from this barn. He's only 3 for 30 in North America over the past 12 months, 63-cent ROI. You go through even the losers in that sample, a ton of short prices losing. Now, I kind of apply this stat to Nation's Pride a little more, Mike, because you think about the types of horses that Charlie Appleby ran here over the past year. It's a lot of the horses that we'd seen before that he kind of kept going back to the well with, and Nation's Pride kind of fits that bill.
Yeah, he really does. Yeah, it's almost amazing to see that stat, especially if you've been paying attention to Charlie Appleby for the last 4 or 5 years, because for a while there he was automatic in races in North America, and as just about everything when you're applying trainer stats, you always have to be conscious that people catch on. The trainers cannot win at that higher rate over a long period of time, and it's all caught up to Charlie Applebee, at least in the past year.
Up next is the horse to beat in this race, the number 6 Farbridge, and he's just been really good lately, Mike, especially since they've concentrated on these longer distances as he did last time in the Bowling Green, where he was only facing 3 rivals and just clearly was able to use his stamina to really never give anybody else a chance in this race. Joel Rosario was not afraid to get a little aggressive with him, making an early move after an overmatched pace setter, knowing that there was nobody that would be able to get close to this horse at the end, and he just trots in pretty comfortably. I think he ran pretty well, too, back in the Manhattan, going a distance that might be a little short for him against Deterministic, who came right back to win the 4-star Dave last weekend, kind of validating the form lines from that Manhattan. And he's just really good. As we said, he's versatile. He is the horse to beat.
Yeah, he's very, very easy to like. He's very easy to make a case for. That race that we just watched there. Yeah, he had a really easy trip in that race, as you pointed out. There was just really no way that field was going to be able to beat him. And so Rosario rode him like the best horse in the race, and he was. This race is going to be tougher for him. He's really good. He's way the horse to beat in here, but this race is tougher.
When I was watching that Bowling Green unfold, I was kind of focusing at the back of the pack on the number 7 El Razine, as I saw the fractions going up, thinking it's a little fast for the leader, and Farbridge made that early move after him to take over. And I kind of looked back at El Razine to see, is this horse possibly going to pick up Farbridge at the end? Quickly became clear Farbridge just badly outclassed everybody in that field, including El Razine. But Mike, it was at least a step forward for a horse who's been improving, clearly gets better with added distance. So I think this might be a tough spot for El Razine, but I could be convinced that we haven't yet seen the best of him.
I agree. I could see him taking another step forward here. He had some things go his way last time, because it's not like, even with a short field in front of him, it's not like they walked on the lead in there. They actually set the race up okay for him, and he actually ran okay in there to be clearly second best at the end of that race. We talked about it on the way in too, David. I mean, the race at Keeneland just seemed like a pure prep for this horse. It was way too short for him. They got him stretched out again last time. He really took a step forward in there. I can see him moving forward again.
The number 8 Grand Sonata has kind of been knocking on the door at this level for a long time. He's been competitive in some big races. He has run in the United Nations over the past couple of years. We'll take a look at his most recent of his United Nations attempts when he was second again. He was second in 2024, only by a nose, second by a larger margin here, but only beaten by a length and a quarter to Redistricting, who really showed up with a big effort going longer for Chad Brown. And Mike, I thought Grand Sonata got a decent enough trip. I mean, he never saw the rail 2 to 3 wide. I don't want to, give him too much credit for that. He just stays on, plugs away like he often does in these races. He can make some excuses for his starts prior to this. I mean, obviously doesn't like the dirt, and 3 back in the Elkhorn. He had some traffic trouble in the stretch of that race. So I think he's in slightly better form than it looks, but we'll see where they decide to run, because he is cross-centered in the Arlington Million at Colonial.
Yeah, we'll see if they run here. Listen, I have a lot of love for this horse. He's been good, and he's been good for a long time. He's ultra consistent. He can get any kind of a trip in a race. That UN that we just watched there, it's just sort of typical stuff for Grand Sonata. He was in the right position for the most part all the way around the track. He had a shot at that race. He was second best, but he ran really, really well again. That's just what this horse does.
The number 9 Utah Beach is a horse that has gotten better with distance, like a lot of these in this race. He's just really taken his game to the next level since they've concentrated on going these longer trips. And he really got into a good groove through the spring and summer, where he won 2 stakes in a row, the Elkhorn and the Louisville. Got good trips on both occasions, got to save ground in the Elkhorn, and then the Louisville. He got to avoid an incident where Rebel Red went down around the going into the far turn, but still ran well that day. Mike, I'm curious to get your take on what happened last time in the Chorleywood.
Yeah, well, I'm glad. Yeah, we do need to discuss this, because overall, I think everything was kind of working out pretty well for this horse. I'm of the opinion, when you go back and watch the replay, and obviously, everybody should do that and sort of form their own opinions on it. But this horse, as he's making his move in the upper stretch there, he takes a pretty good bump from Rebel Red, who was rallying to his outside. I personally believe that this horse took the worst of it in there. He got bumped really hard by the winner in the upper stretch there. And I don't think he ever really recovered from it. And I liked all of his prior races since they stretched him out. So to me, that makes him interesting here. He's going to need the right trip here from the outside post. I think he's pretty good though, David. I think he can go with these horses if he gets the right trip.
Yeah, I think that was a symptom of Rebel Red lacking that left eye. He
Yeah.
just kept turning to the left and bumped right into this horse, and it really did knock Utah Beach's hind end away from him. I still wanted to see him finish a little better after that, Mike, but maybe that was a critical point in the race for him to gain momentum. Let's go to picks for this Sword Dancer. And Mike, I think you're going to go to that horse that you were just making an excuse for.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a good enough price. And I looked at this race for a long time, David. I initially thought, you know what, this is the time to bet against Farbridge at a short price because it's a tougher field. And then when I went through it again, I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if these horses are going to be able to beat Farbridge. So I'm not that confident anymore. But I will take a little shot with Utah Beach. I think he's going to be a really good price in here, and I'm not so sure he's overmatched.
Yeah, I kind of went through the same thought process with Farbridge. I thought I was going to be more against him than I was. I even considered putting him on top in this race because I just think he is so much the horse to beat in here, Mike. I did go to the number one, El Cordobés. I'm a little bit leery of that Charlie Applebee stat, but this is the kind of horse that Charlie Applebee used to have a lot of success with, coming in with a horse that looked like he was on the improve and he would take that next step forward in North America. We'll see if he can do it with a horse that could be a slightly better price than his Godolphin stablemate. 1-6-2-8 for me and 9-6-7-3 for Mike in the Grade 1 Sword Dancer on Saturday at Saratoga. Good luck if you're playing the races this weekend.